Alright, we are going to now take some notes on dividing using unit fractions. Open to your table of contents. You should have already taken notes on fractions as division, and you should have taken the time to practice some fractions as division problems. Now we're going to divide using unit fractions, or divide with unit fractions. Remember that you can pause this video at any time if you need to catch up to me if I'm going too fast. On page 21, I've already written my title, Divide with Unit Fractions. So let's jump right in. You might recall that we started with listing the idea of division. If I'm doing 4 divided by 2, this means how many groups of 2 are in 4? Or it means how many times can I fit 2 into 4? So if I represent that using 4 dots, I can make 2 groups of 2 within 4. Therefore, 4 divided by 2 equals 2. Let's be clear about what this means by writing one sentence. How many groups of 2 fit inside 4? That works very well for whole numbers. I'm going to draw a line now so that we can introduce fractions. And recall that we did this yesterday as well. Now we're going to make this 4 divided by 1/2. We should ask ourselves, what does this mean, right? If 4 divided by 2 was how many groups of 2 can fit into 4, 4 divided by 1/2 should be how many groups of 1/2 fit into 4. Write that sentence with me. How many groups of 1/2 fit inside 4? So how can we do that? We can't just draw dots like the first time because we're not using whole numbers like dots. Instead, we're using pieces, fractions. So let's represent that with boxes. That's 1 whole, but I need 4 wholes. 4 wholes is the dividend being split up. Okay, now I've got 4 wholes. And look, I've already started dividing in halves because I want to know how many groups of 1/2 fit inside 4. Let's see how many we can fit. 1/2, 2 halves, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, I was able to fit 8 halves inside of 4 wholes. That means that 4 divided by 1/2 must be 8. What if we were to flip this around and do 1/2 divided by 4? We should use the same language. How many groups of 4 fit inside 1/2? Now hopefully you're thinking carefully and you realize 1/2's pretty small. 4 is not going to fit in there very many times. In fact, it's probably going to fit in less than 4 times, maybe even less than 1 time. But let's start out with what we have, okay? 1/2 is the number being split up. 1/2 is the dividend. So we're going to draw 1/2 and shade it in. That's what I'm starting out with. But then I need to split it up by 4. Alright, what I've done is I've made 4 groups out of 1/2. And my task is to answer, what is one of those pieces worth? Well, this piece right here that I've shaded in is one piece out of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One piece out of 8 equals 1/8. one piece out of 8 total pieces. Let's clarify what we did here. We drew 1/2, and we split by 4. I'm going to write some steps. Step 1. Draw the dividend. And we should remind ourselves that 1/2 was the dividend. Step 2. Split the dividend using the divisor. We took 4 and we split it so that we had 4 boxes. And this is the divisor. Step 3. How much is one piece worth? One piece out of 8 is 1/8 for this type of problem. The last thing to notice is that when we divide by a fraction, our quotient got bigger. When we divide by a whole number, our quotient was smaller than what we started with. Thinking carefully, this should make sense. When we divide by a whole number, there are an equal value to each of the pieces, so we end up making smaller number of groups. When we divide by a fraction can fit inside the wholes. It's smaller pieces that we're making, so smaller pieces can fit inside the wholes more times. Whereas wholes can only make groups out of wholes and can't fit inside them to make smaller pieces. We will explore this more in the future. Make sure that you've got all of these notes down. You can rewind the video or pause at any point as you need.